Hello again, boys and girls. We're going to do science. We're going to continue talking about the plant life cycle. We're not going to talk about our chrysalids today because right now they are all resting and still safe, right, in their chrysalids. So we're going to leave them until next week and talk about them further. So we're going to continue with the plant life cycle. Okay, so before we talk about the posters, I found this book I've been looking for called Seeds, and I actually have something real to show you that's in the story after I read the story. Or maybe I'll stop. Seeds. Seeds are baby plants, right? We saw that when we dissected the plant, the seed, and we saw inside was a baby plant resting inside a snug coat. So if you dissected your seed at home, you were able to see the seed coat. Resting, breathing, waiting to burst. So there's a little boy at the seed store, looks like with his grandpa, picking out seeds that they want to grow. Radish seeds are tiny. Corn seeds are bigger. Bean seeds are bigger still. Remember when we talked about seeds, I showed you some different types and they're different sizes, different shapes, different colors. And the biggest is the coconut. Seeds need water to grow. The water soaks into the hard coat. The seeds swell up inside. Remember we talked about that yesterday. The seed starts to swell from the water and the warmth of the sun. And the coat splits open. Tiny roots start to grow downward. So remember the food part that was in the seed? The food part grows downward and becomes the roots. And tiny shoots start to grow up. So the part that was the baby plant, remember? The food part will start, the seed will swell and split open. The seed coat will come off. The food part will grow downward to become the roots. The baby plant will grow upward to become the stem and the leaves. And the seed starts germinating. So when that happens, it starts to germinate. The seed coat is coming off. The food part is growing downward. That's called germinating. And if you have seeds on your window, they should be starting to germinate. In that experiment in the Ziploc bag with the paper towel, my seed coats are off, so maybe by the weekend I'll start to see some root growth. When they germinate, seeds need food. They get food from water. They get food from the soil too. And remember yesterday, I told you that plants can make their own food using the sun, and that's called photosynthesis. You see them? Those are see the roots? Those are radishes. And I have a real radish here from my garden. This is a root vegetable. Tomorrow we're going to talk about parts of the plant that we can eat. See, this has the root on it. You cut that part off, you don't eat it. But you eat the actual radish. Germinating seeds need warmth. And where do they get the warmth from? Right, the sun. That's why we don't see a lot of flowers growing in the winter time. They need warmth. As they grow, they need light. They need air to breathe too. They breathe air through their nose? No. They breathe air through the leaves. And the leaves help catch the sunlight so that they can make their own food. And their leaves are green because they have something in it called chlorophyll. That's what makes them green. And you know, we talked about that during the autumn season, how the leaves were changing colors because the sun, now you know the seasons and how it works with the earth orbiting, right? The earth is starting to tilt away from the sun, so the trees aren't getting as much sun, therefore their leaves won't be so green because they won't have any chlorophyll producing. They breathe through their leaves and their roots. Right? Because all living things need air. Radish plants grow green leaves on stalks. See? So the red part is what's underground. The green part is what the stalk, and the leaves is what you see above the ground. The leaves have tiny tubes on them that look like veins or a net. Right? We have veins in our hands. You can see them in your hands. If you look carefully, I'll turn the leaf around. See? It has like veins. Right? And our veins carry our blood when we learned about our body and on the nutrition. That's the same thing, but it comes up through the soil. Radish plants grow leaves on stalks, two at a time. The leaves have tiny tubes on them that look like veins or a net. Radish plants grow one big swollen root. And that's the big red part. Radish plants grow quickly and are soon ready to eat. Here's a clean one. And crunchy. We eat the radish root. I just ate it. Now here, you can see how it grows. It doesn't always start out round. It starts tiny, skinny and white even. Okay, the roots are growing down. The leaf part is growing up. Corn plants grow on stalks and long, thin leaves with veins that go straight along each leaf. They grow roots which spread out to keep the tall plants standing up. So what do the roots help do besides bring up the food and water and nourishment that they need? Right? They help them stand. They're like an anchor. If they didn't have roots, they would fall over. Especially corn, because they grow really tall. Have you ever been in a corn maze? They grow roots which spread out to keep the tall plants standing up. Corn plants grow for a long time and grow corn on the cob. So the corn comes on the cob, and when you buy it in the store, it comes in a can. They take it off the cob. We eat the seeds of the corn on the cob. Remember we talked about some seeds we eat? Well, corn is one of them. Beans that climb have twirling stems that curl onto fences. They hold the plant up. The plant has thick roots and many flowers. Right, so this is a bean plant. Bean seed pods grow from flowers. We eat the bean seeds and the pods. Did you ever have a sugar snap peas? They come in a pod and you can eat the pod as well. The radish seeds in the pod, the bean seeds in their bean pod, and the corn on the cob are the seeds of new plants. The seeds would all grow if you planted them. But they have to be ripe, and they need to be dry and hard. So if you take an apple seed, right, or a couple apple seeds, you want them dry and have to be dried out and hard before you plant them. To become ripe, seeds need pollen. Pollen grows on one part of a flower, and the seeds grow on the other part of the flower. The pollen is carried to the seeds by bees and wind. So bees are helpful to our plants. Some people collect seeds so that we can grow them. They put seeds into packets, and the seeds stay in the packet, resting, breathing, and waiting. Right? So you can go to the store and buy packs of seeds. And then plant them. Okay. So yesterday you did the life cycle of the plant. Let's just go over it, okay? Remember our parts of the seed as the baby plant and the food part. Okay, and give him what it needs, food, air, and water, it can grow. So here we see it's starting to germinate. It's shedding its coat, and the food part is growing downward to become the roots, which are the anchor, to help them stay in, and to help be like a straw and bring nourishment through the whole plant so that it can grow more. And once it goes through the ground, we call that a sprout. It's sprouted. Okay, here it's sprouted, okay, and now the roots are the anchor, but they are also, like straws, to carry food up the stem so it can continue growing. Here it has shed its whole coat. The actual body of the seed is shrinking, smaller. Now we have the baby plant has grown up, has leaves and a stem. So the stem is like the body of the plant, right? The leaves are like its arms. They catch the sunlight so that they can make food, photosynthesis, and produce chlorophyll to make the leaves green. And then it grows up further still until there are some flowers on it. And here you see, now not all plants have flowers, but some do. Okay, and here are the seeds inside the flower. More seeds and fruits can produce through pollination, and that's where the bees help out a lot. This happens when pollen on the stamen lands, that's part of the petals in the flower. Okay, and there is a new seed right there. Okay, now let's look at this poster. Okay, one, seeds are planted, right, and watered. Here, the hard outer shell or the seed coat splits, right? Remember, the seed swells from the warmth and the water, and the plant sprouts. So now we have roots and we have a stem. Roots, stems, and leaves begin to develop. See? And there is what the seed shed. It shed its coat. Okay? The food part in the seed grew down into roots. The baby plant grew upward. The seed part will start to shrink and new leaves will form. Flowers blossom on the plant. As it grows bigger, bigger leaves, it gets more food and nourishment. And then seeds form on the plant. So if you look in the middle, this one has a flower. Remember I said the petals are like the seed coat on the flower. It helps protect the seeds. And then the cycle happens over and over and over again. Ow, my shoulder. So, let's look at our radish. You can see there's even some dirt on it because I picked it fresh. It's got tiny, small root here, but the radish itself is a root vegetable. And then this is the stalk and the stem with the leaves. Okay, you don't eat the leaves, you eat the root on this vegetable. Take another bite. Isn't it crunchy? It's an acquired taste. I liked it. I told you when I was a kid, my dad used to help me pick them in the garden. Okay, so what you're going to do today is there will be one activity on Seesaw similar to the one that you did yesterday, which is sequencing of the seed plant life cycle. So you're going to do that on Seesaw, and then on this one, you're going to match the parts of the plant, cut it on the bottom, and match the roots, the leaves, the stem, and the flower. Okay, and I also have a couple of at-home experiments that you can do if you'd like, or even in the summertime. It's fun and exciting. Okay, this experiment is really fun. You take celery or a carnation flower and cut the bottom off, the bottom stem. The celery grows on a stalk, but it has leaves. So this is a stalk that you can eat. And put it in a cup with food coloring. I have red. Now tomorrow we'll see if there's any change in this, because this will help you understand how plants get their nourishment through their roots. You'll see what happens to these leaves. Okay? So I'm going to send you that experiment. You don't have to do it, but save it. Maybe you'll do it on a rainy day. It'll take a couple days to see what happens. And then this one is really cool. You can use a potato. And you put toothpicks in it and make sure the bottom part of the potato is in water. Okay, so put it maybe on a window where there's some sun with some water with the toothpicks. So you need sun, water, and it'll get the air. And then another thing you could do is ask mom or dad to take a leaf from one of your house plants and see if you can start growth from a leaf. Roots would start to grow. Again, put it in the sun with some water. So these are cool experiments that you can do at home. All right? All right, boys and girls, that's a wrap. I will see you tomorrow. It's Friday and we're going to crown Mary. All right. Miss you.